Hey, welcome to the basement. Time to get back to work. Time to get back to work on our final project, the IO. Let's head to classroom and check out what we're doing today. All the information that you need today will be located under the assignment IO.2 IO proposal. It's going to be a Google form that is linked to this assignment along with all of the other material that you need for today. As I say here, it is not an invitation to do the Google form within today's class and be done with it. It's a project that is due Friday, not today, and I hope the responses on the form will look like you did some considering of this project and didn't just try to get it done. To be clear, my plan was slightly different than maybe your peers in other IB English 1 classes. I decided to give you a very light week last week, and I decided to have no homework over the break. The trade-off is that our schedule is a little more compressed this week as we get ready to plan our IOs and have some conferences. I believe that there's plenty of flexibility and plenty of time for us to still talk with each other in the 3 classes that we have for planning the actual IO outline that you have to submit a week before your exam. But it does mean that this week we are right back to work. At the same time, I don't want you to rush through the work today. I want you to use Wednesday, tomorrow, a targeted instruction day, and I want you to have to do a little of this work for homework. Plus, we do have an 80-minute block today as soon as the video is complete. Okay, so let's look at the form first, and then I'll talk about something that I want you to start with as part of your exit ticket today. Plus, it's just good brainstorming. But while we are at the beginning of the video, we should take a look at the proposal form. Some of this I've already mentioned, that this is homework, but it must be completed before class begins on Friday, May 8th. In fact, we have the rare 7:30 due time. I know that those of you who like to work from 7:45 to 7:50 in the morning are going to be disappointed by that. But what I need to know is I need to know if I have enough students to begin conferences on this plan on Friday. While we're on that topic, we should probably take a look at the schedule. So there's been changes, not major ones, for right now, but it has an effect on the end of the year. There was a week of school down here. It's gone. The Monday and Tuesday had been days with students, and now they're days just for teachers so that we can clean out our classrooms. So now finals has its own week, and that's just going to crush down the amount of slots that I have for actually recording your IOs. So I've had to sneak some IO appointments in here. These were the same. This is the same. And then you'll see a little, it wouldn't be ideal to be doing IOs on that last day, but I'll probably put a couple appointments there just to make sure that everyone is going on a day that they are comfortable with. I can't imagine there's very many of you who still want to be doing schoolwork out on June 5th, but if you're anything like me, you're also taking a look at this month and suddenly realizing that if you take out the targeted instruction Wednesdays, there is not a lot of school left. That is both great because we're exhausted and ready to be done with this version of school. It is also insane. I don't feel ready. I don't know about you. There's a lot still to do. But honestly, every school year feels like that when we come back from April break. So why should this be any different? Let's hop back into the proposal form. So this is a brainstorm, but I want it to be thoughtful. When you hear brainstorm, I think we hear like, let me throw some ideas at the project, see if they stick. But that's going to lead to unproductive conferences because you won't have thought about the responses that you put in this form again until the moment that you're sitting across from me in conference and I say, so why did you choose Heart of Darkness? And you shrug and say, like, well, I remember there being a lot in it. And that's not a very helpful conference because I'm not helping you develop an organization plan for your IO. I'm not looking at your claim. I'm, at that point, cajoling you to think deeper about what your global issue is going to be. That's not helpful. You already know you're supposed to be doing that. So we really don't want this to be type whatever I can quickly type off the top of my head. You should be, before you're going to the Google form, you should be looking through your portfolio of, not portfolio of work, but your reflective work from that, the learner portfolio, thank you. I'm going to assume it was Megan who said that. You have a little bit of the global issue brainstorming stuff that I'll have available to look at again today, and any notes that you took while reading the novels. You may not have the novels themselves. That's another issue that will be on the Google form. So your responses should be based on that real consideration, the fact that you looked at work from this year before deciding what two texts you will be looking at. Your wording in your answers here, I'm going to want to lean more towards I want to further explore, or I've noticed that, than leaning towards that I think I might, or I wonder if I can, or I was hoping I could. I hope you see the difference there. Name, global issue. Which work do you want from basically first semester? Written in your language, that's the requirement. One has to be written in your language. The other has to be a work in translation. Okay, so there's no exception to that. If there are two books that you think work, but they are both a work in translation from the second semester, we can't do it. It must be a text from, the easiest way to think about it, one from semester one, one from semester two. A examination of how you believe your global issue, the one that you write here, is explored in the work that you chose here. What are some possible extracts? When you write this, it's not an exact quote. No, not that. It's going to be something about the scene where, I'll put Margine in here because I don't want you to be unspecific, but you don't have to be an exact copy or need to have a page number. So does a specific action, and you'd be writing whatever that specific action was, or possibly an extract where Marquez's use of journalism is on display, such as when X, right? So if some of that authorial choice language works its way in there, that would probably be good to see as well. Then we move on and we do the same thing for the second work from second semester. How do you believe this global issue that you would like to explore is examined by this work? And then possible extracts. Keeping in mind here, I already did this at length, but remembering that the global issue could be presented in a different way. So if you identify the global issue of art, creativity, and imagination, if one work says that art in poverty is never possible because of the impoverished conditions restrict, and another work says, on the other hand, art in poverty is not only going to proliferate, but it is necessary. You know, those are two very different treatments, but both become a conversation about a global issue of poverty and their effect on the arts. Okay, so keep in mind that it's not necessarily a perfect match. It's a conversation. It's an exploration. How is the global issue of your choice seen in the form of 2 works. Finally, you will need to let me know if you need to get anything from the building. So if you are doing Chronicle of a Death Foretold and that's in your locker, for example, you'll need to let me know that you need to get to your locker. Or if you want to do Chronicle of a Death Foretold and you want to go to the library, we need to know that as well. What I will also add here is that you are pretty resourceful. Those of you who didn't have Persepolis found Persepolis. You can find Chronicle. You can find Heart of Darkness for sure. I don't know if you can find Master Herald of the Boys, but it's a probably. Okay, so you could be resourceful as well, but you don't have to be. Find the balance. What's right? What's the right call? Is it going to work for you to find another way to get after that resource, or will you need to pick up the text from school? Whatever you decide, that's what that last form slot is for. Okay, so that's the Google form. I will fire up the Classroom Meet and sit there during class for any clarifications, so you can come on in and ask your questions. That is the homework. You can work on it during class, but as I said, I don't want it done in the first 20 minutes today. That's probably not going to be productive. It is these responses that I then plan on conferencing over starting on Friday, then moving on to the 2 classes that we have next week. Right? So it's going to be about 6 people a day, which that's probably the max that I can fit in. What one other thing are we going to do today? There are 2 copies of this document. One is for the half of the class with the last name A through M, and the other is for the second half of the class, the last part of the alphabet that splits you roughly in 2. It is a brainstorm, and this is the style of brainstorm that is throw some stuff up. What I want you to do here is consider these questions that don't necessarily have anything to do about global issue, but they are questions that ask you to just remember the text. What did you like about the text? What did you connect with about the text? What do you remember about the text? What moved you while you read the text? You may not have global issue words for those feelings yet, but as you re-examine the works that we have read this year, new ways of thinking about those old memories may come to the surface. So these questions don't have anything to do with global issue. They have everything to do with reactivating those feelings that you had for those works. If you talk about 2 works that you're passionate about because you were moved by the style, because the substance was illuminating to you, or even because it was an experience that you never want to repeat again because it was so difficult to access, but you'll never forget how you were able to access it. I'm thinking Heart of Darkness there, of course. Why not look at that work? Because that same passion could come out in your IO, and you'll do a better job than saying, hey, there's women in Things Fall Apart, and there's women in Persepolis. There, boom, done, easy, bullet points. I know there's a temptation because you can see those connections already, but that's not very creative or interesting. And is that really what you want to talk about? Is that really what moved you this year? So this is an opportunity to just look at the works from this text, the text from this year one more time. There will be anybody can edit, so the instructions have it. I'm not going to read the instructions here. I'm already going long. I'm just asking you to be considerate and not write over each other's boxes. Same rules that we always have when we do a group edit document. Okay, let's see here. All I have to do now is fire up the Google Meet and wait for you to stop by with questions. And we're back. Here we go. Let's finish up the year.